What is up, my beautiful people? Hope you're all having a tremendous day. Exile451 here with yet another daily dose of Reddit Happy. It's Thursday, it's almost the end of the week. Let's go back into some r/ask Reddit for some funny to help hold you over before the weekend. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. So we're going to go back into one that you guys really seemed to enjoy last time. The Ask Reddit question is, legal professionals of Reddit, what's the funniest way you've ever seen a lawyer or defendant blow a court case? After argument from the assistant district attorney, the judge asked defense counsel why he should allow the defendant to remain on his own recognizance. Defense counsel looks up, obviously searching for any reason he can, because he knows his client is a dirtbag, and this is what he comes up with. Because his girlfriend lives in the apartment above mine, and I'll hear her crying all night. Defendant remanded to jail. Obligatory, not a lawyer, but I took a class on constitutional rights where we had to read decisions from my country's Supreme Court. There was this one where a woman was suing her employer, a company, because IT had found sex pics of the woman on the company's computer. IT gave the tip to HR, who proceeded to contact the company's legal department. Anyhow, the woman was fired and she sued because she claimed that by showing the pics to the lawyer, the company was going against her right to privacy. HR also threatened to release the pics to the other employees if the woman kept suing or something like that. In the end, the court decided that HR had to return the pics to the woman, and that was it. The funny thing was that the woman claimed that those pics weren't sex pics, even though she was naked and in suggestive poses. She claimed that she had arrived tired from work, passed out on her bed, and her little daughter took those pics. Honey, if that's really your defense, you might want to find a different attorney, because I think that's significantly worse. If you're having your little girl take erotic pictures of you, I'm pretty sure that might qualify as some form of abuse. I mean, I could be wrong, I'm not a lawyer, but... yeah, that's not a good counter-argument. A prominent female attorney didn't like the judge's ruling in a family law case. She asked him if he was from another planet. The judge says, "I beg your pardon?" She approached the bench without permission and very rudely repeated her question. Judge told her to apologize. She refused. The judge had her thrown in the lockup for contempt of court. I was still in law school working for a solo practitioner part-time. We had this divorce where the dude got caught cheating and his wife cleaned out the bank account, which was the only marital asset, to pay for her attorney fees. There was absolutely no reason for her to pay that much for an attorney, and due to that, the attorney on the other side was inflaming her client to fight over every little issue to earn that retainer. Now, our dude was also stupid. He didn't pay the court-ordered temporary child support order, and due to that, he had to pay some of her attorney's fees. But after all that is dealt with, we have a date to hear arguments on anything not agreed to. Our biggest point is he'll pay the support order, but she owes him half of the bank account amount. We get in front of the judge, and she tried to argue that she used the money to pay for a new place and moving fees. That was bullcrap. We had the financial statement where the wife stated she paid pretty much the whole amount as a retainer. Judge turns around, looks at the attorney in the face, and tells her that her signature is on the financial statement, meaning that either she lied on the statement or she is lying right now. Judge tells her to think very carefully about her next statement and that, in her opinion, the wife needed to pay half the money back. Other attorney goes quiet, asks for a recess, and completely changes her resolution position. We basically had her exactly where we wanted her, because she knew if we wanted to, this could amount to a bar complaint as she made a false statement to the tribunal. We got him back all his money, and he got to claim his child for the next 5 years on his taxes. Honestly, felt bad for the wife. She had no freaking clue how badly her attorney was screwing her over. This, among other things, is why I refuse to practice family law. Can't say I blame you. Not me, not a legal professional, but my brother's EMT instructor used to live in Chicago. This one's a twofer. The instructor himself had his license suspended for numerous traffic charges, including evading police. but forgot about his arraignment date until about an hour prior. So, the guy hops on a motorcycle and drives himself to the court. Remember this for later. The dude in the court right before him is a Hispanic guy. The judge reads off everything he's charged with, and then the conversation goes like this. Judge: Mr. Gonzalez, how do you plead? Gonzalez: No habla inglés. Mr. Gonzalez, do you understand a word I'm saying? No habla inglés. Mr. Gonzalez, am I to understand that this whole time no one has bothered to get a translator for you? No hablo inglés. Well, I guess if you can't understand what you're charged with, we'll have to drop the charges. Gracias, señor. Starts walking out. Get back in here! After him, the instructor goes up, judge reads his charges, and then asks him how he got to the court that day. Instructor: Oh, my brother gave me a ride. Judge: Is that right? Yes, Your Honor. Looking at the bailiff: Do you have that footage from parking deck 3? The judge then proceeds to play CCTV footage of the instructor showing up on the exact same bike that he was using for all the offenses when he ran from the cops. His license remained suspended, and the judge told him he couldn't go anywhere near the bike during that time. There was even a cop standing next to it when he left. Okay, first, I gotta hand it to the guy, though. I mean, that's pretty ballsy to drive your bike to court when you've got a suspended license. But dude, really? Not a lawyer. I was being questioned as a prospective juror in a personal injury case. 8 people had already been seated, and the plaintiff's attorney asked me the same question he had asked everyone else and gotten, "Yes, of course," as an answer. Do you feel that a person has a right to be compensated for his injuries? My answer, probably louder and slower than it needed to be, was, not if he got hurt because he did something stupid. I had poisoned the entire jury pool, including those already seated. They settled out of court in 10 minutes, for an amount much smaller than they were asking for. I don't know if that one's true or not, that sounds too much like everybody clapped, but I could see it happening. But someone responded here. My dad did this once, but he asked the lawyer if he really wanted him to answer because his answer will bias the other jury members. Judge told him to answer, and he said, "The way I see it, the only people who have anything to gain in this lawsuit are the lawyers." Judge sent the lawyers to settle in the hallway. Again, sounds a little like this is one of those everybody clapped stories, but still funny. Not a defendant, but there was this dude in the court I interned at who went in with his friend but wore a shirt with the exact same color as the ones in group trials. The bailiff mistook him for a convict and was asking him to sit down. Heck nah, man. I'm just here to see my friend. I ain't got no case. He was the one that got caught. I got away. No, he didn't get away. Not my case, but still a personal favorite. I was sitting in court waiting for my turn. Case going was a littering case. Officer said he saw the defendant throw the clear wrapper on a pack of gum out of his window. Guy decided to defend himself. Girlfriend takes the stand. Officer has already testified. Guy asks, "Did I throw a gum wrapper out of the window?" She replies, No, you did not," with this huge grin on her face. The defendant is now also grinning and goes, "What did I throw out the window?" To which she replies, "It was a plastic wrapper from your cigarettes." Guy rests his case right there. Literally thought he would get off because the officer couldn't properly identify the clear plastic that he admits to throwing out the window. I'm not sure why I got Southern accent when I was reading this, because this is clearly a Florida man story. I mean, gosh. Defendant was willing to stay on probation conditioned on jail until a bed became available. Due to the circumstances of the defendant's age and minor violations, the judge was very open to the possibility. So this was argued out. In rebuttal to the defense lawyer's argument, the prosecutor said something the defendant didn't like. The defendant stood up, called us all racists, and said, "Send my freaking butt to prison." You know that scene where Jerry Maguire pleads with Rod to help me help you? It was 100 times worse. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be his defense attorney. I used to be a police officer and spent a lot of time in court and saw a lot of things go really wrong for people. But the one that sticks out is a guy who was up for DUI. He started relating his side of the story and tells the judge he only had 2 bottles of wine. His lawyer is desperately trying to get him to stop talking, and he yelled at his own lawyer, "Don't interrupt me!" And the judge says, "I think you should take a moment to listen to your attorney." And then he told the judge, "Don't tell me what to do. I'm not a dang child." And the judge just smiled and leaned back and said, "By all means, continue." It went badly for him, unsurprisingly. Oh, you want to think these are jokes, and yet at the same time, there are people this stupid out there. I spent 2 days in jail many moons ago. I ended up in the felony section. That was fun. Anyhow, I met some pretty interesting characters. One such gentleman, I can't remember his name, let's call him Bob. There were about 4 of us in a cell, and we're just shooting the breeze and discussing why everyone is in here. Bob is back in jail. He's borderline retarded. Before this current situation, he was facing 2 felonies for... I don't remember. His lawyer eventually convinces the court lawyer that he can't stand trial because he's not mentally competent. They eventually let him go. What's the first thing he decides to do once he gets out of jail? Tries to steal the first car he sees, in front of the courthouse, which is adjacent to the jail. Didn't cross his mind cops would be in and out of that area all the time. He was back in jail probably 20 to 30 minutes after he got out, after beating 2 felonies. Oof. Yeah, oof is right. Oof indeed. When I was clerking for a judge, a defendant wrote to the judge trying to explain that the 2 bongs found on the floorboard of the car were actually his girlfriend's, but he was afraid to speak up earlier because she's on Section 8, and drugs are forbidden for Section 8 recipients. Mind you, he was on probation at the time the cops pulled him over, and it didn't matter who owned the bongs. He was still in violation of his probation for being in possession of drug paraphernalia. His attempt to get out from his charges not only screwed over his girlfriend, but it also showed that he knew of the bongs that were in her car. Why? Why would you do that? Why would you say that? Ugh. That was r/AskReddit, and if you want more funny Ask Reddit content, then feel free to check out the playlist link in the description below. Now you go out there, have a great day, I will see you all tomorrow. Until then, I'm Exile451, stay beautiful people.